So I just wanna start with the first question, and that question goes from the audience, but I think everybody can answer it. How does your day look alike? They just wanna know how your day starts, maybe, and how do you spend the time at work?
Well, yeah, sure. I think it's a bit different from a team lead and from a QA lead perspective, so we can kind of combine the two. But yeah, as a team lead, at least in my experience, I first of all check if there's any communication that I've missed during the evening. If stuff was burning down somewhere, hopefully not. If it was, yeah, we see who started the fire, what's burning, and how we can put it out, which happens, but that's part of the job. Yeah, then formal communication, emails, checking, also something that happened during the night, the emails that came from clients in different time zones, stuff like that. That also happens quite a lot. Yeah, then I actually like to start getting to work because I still work as an app developer too, so I kind of get into work on my project and mix the two during the day. So jump into one-on-ones or other meetings with people who are part of my team, and also work on the project in the meantime. So kind of juggling the two in my case, along as the day goes. Pretty much the same, or
Pretty much the same, I do agree, but I would not focus on one day. I would rather, as a team lead, focus on what we do throughout the bigger time period, like a month, quarter, or a year, where you have different processes to uh, make your team and grow your team to make them go to another level. So to grow their knowledge, grow their skills, both technical and soft skills, and to track that progress, which also comes once per day, sometimes once per week, once per month, depending on the people, depending on the project, and so on. So each day you have a different set of challenges, and your goal as a team lead is to check in on your people to see if they are taken care of, if they have any problems, if you can help them to solve the problems that they have, or even to push them to solve their own problems by giving them some piece of information, but not the whole solution. And that's how they grow. So each day, when you take one day, it's hard to explain everything. But when you look at the process, you see uh, what are all the things that you can do for your people as a team lead.
Yep. From my side, basically, it's not as different as it might seem on first glance, but similar as Robert said. Basically, it's boils down on like bigger time chunk, week, month, months, year. We are an agency first and foremost. That means that we work on different. We have to work on projects. We have to keep getting the revenue from somewhere. So I'm also working on at least one project, whether it's half-time capacity or going to the full-time capacity. But apart from that, practical work on a particular project, basically I also focused on executing number of, let's say, initiatives that we define beginning of year, and different probes into different projects. One of the key responsibilities from my side is to make sure that we are performing or having the same level of quality on all of the projects that we are working on, which range wildly from projects where we have people who work like 15 minutes a day on the project to projects where we have 12, 13 QA people working at the same time. And yeah, one of the things is probing into different projects, seeing, okay, how are the processes set up, how are our deliverables to the client, is the client happy with what we are developing, and yeah, maybe also just to wrap it up, one of the most interesting parts is regular syncs with team lead or tech leads from different teams where we jointly work on some strategies or initiatives and combine our approaches. So yeah, that's about it.
Regarding this question, we received another question, which I think it's very good. I have to say, so well done to that person who asked it. It's about, do you think that being a team lead means that no time for programming? And do you agree? Do you like that part? And how is it with you, within your team at work? If you don't have time for programming, do you find time in your free space and so on? Because I've seen many amazing people who also do great programming, who kind of miss it because they have a lot of time. They don't have that much time. So what is your...
I can answer
Sure.
this. I had this fear when I was offered the role as a team lead that I will lose my touch in the tech and in learning about new stuff, about learning about new technology and so on. And yeah, it's not like that. Not yes, we also develop applications and also we are working on projects. But when you are a team lead, you're not only learning from your experience, but also from the experience of your directs, so your team members, and you gain a wider knowledge than you would usually gain. So I think that you learn more as a team lead.
We also had a few occurrences of team leads at our company who were just team leads, didn't work actively on any projects. And that was okay. They had a bigger team of people, of course, to fill up the same amount of time that we have. But that was kind of a personal choice for them. For example, when I was starting as a team lead, I had the same fear as you had. And pretty straightforward. I was asked, okay, how do you want to split your time? And we defined some percentage. We started with that and we said, okay, we're starting like this. We're going to move on to this percentage per time. And that's basically what happened. So I didn't lose that time, but other people choose to sacrifice that time from the get-go and just be team leads and just do the team lead job. It's a rare occurrence. I don't know if there are still such team leads in our company, but I know that it did happen. So they are basically two kind of approaches to this thing. And yeah, what you said, I feel very strongly about this kind of absorbing knowledge from the people who are your team members. It's even better than what you would learn yourself, because instead of working on one project or two projects, you get, I don't know, 5-6 different projects, and you hear about them all. You hear about the problems, the solutions. You see what the other platforms are doing, how they are handling problems. So it's a really wider picture in the end. So yeah, that's very, very valuable.
Do you have, you also already mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, from my side, although I'm not so much focused on leading and growing different team members, I don't have a specific team under me. I also do hold technical one-on-ones where actually what guys mentioned happens. You gain their experience as well, and it's basically like working on as many projects as you can. So it's not for everyone. Some people would have problems with it, but I think the important part is how you define it. And I would say that in our company we are quite flexible with it. In the end, it's what's good for us. It's also good for the company in the end. So yeah, that's it.
Perfect. There are many interesting questions from the audience, but now we're gonna go to the final questions because it's mostly focused towards the future. But I wanted to tackle how's the situation at the moment. How do you manage and like balance being a leader, but also building your technical knowledge without feeling that you're missing it out. So now we're gonna go with the questions about the future, but before. It's like, have you ever experienced a moment where you felt unstuck or unsure of your next step? And how did you overcome it? This is maybe if we can start with that.
Well, it was a part of my second or third slide, so yeah, I was definitely feeling stuck back then. So I will not repeat that one, but I was also feeling not stuck, but maybe kind of unmotivated in my career at some point. Yeah, that was before I became a team lead. I was kind of working on the same projects day by day. They were all kind of starting to be very similar to each other. Work was merging into one amorphous thing, and I didn't like that period at all. So what I did try to do at that time, as again I mentioned in my presentation, I tried to push myself a bit more into this, making sure that the communication is good, the project is good, not just my side of the project, just the technical side, but also this other part, and focusing more on the delivery of the whole team and whoever else worked on the project at that time, which kind of drove me to the team lead position in the end. So I tried making it a bit more challenging for myself, and that in turn helped me unstick myself from feeling stuck.
There's a really cool book. It's called Obstacle is the Way. I think he kind of explained this, that by the obstacle you actually found your way.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
It's perfect. So regarding shifting careers and so on, we have two questions that we're gonna tackle fast.
This is not for me then. Because I didn't shift the career.
Yeah, you're saved. Thank you, loyalty. So how should someone? But this is it's for Tomislav. How should someone interested in iOS development or JavaScript get started today? Like any resource recommendation, because you already mentioned, but resources wise.
I would say that to start, you just need to start. You need to roll up your sleeves and take one technology at a time. Just pick one, either JS or iOS or Android. Just pick one and get your hands dirty. Start building something, whether it is to-do app, shopping cart app, whatever. The point is not to be afraid of technology and learning. The point is to start, write code, make mistakes. You will always make mistakes and learn from that mistakes. I recommend Codecademy, and I recommend any type of education material. I like video material. I learned a lot on YouTube. Just I Google a video technology. If I found a speaker annoying, I switch to another one, and it's often like that. And I pick whatever it fits. I learn from the video some technical stuff. Then I try it out on my local project, and then I Google what did I wrong, because I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and when you Google it, you'll find documentation. Then you'll start learning from reading the documentation, and this is one of the things that you need to know, that how to read the documentation, and you will just start building something and kick off your career. So the good tip is whatever resource you find best for yourself, whether it is a coding platform, a YouTube video, or a blog post, or a film academy, whatever you find fit, just start, do it, and if it doesn't work, mix it up. Start learning something else. You just need to start with it.
I have a question for you, Jens. How many of you have done this that he recommended? Like search on YouTube for ChatGPT perfect. Okay, guys, I admire you guys.
Good for you.
If I don't pay a lot of money, I will probably not be responsible that much. So I'm a different type of person that I have to pay for just to be so well done for. But thank you, Abba, for.
Yeah, but that's also valuable. Like some people cannot learn from this approach, and they need
Yeah.
some motivation or a kick in the butt. If that's paying money, then that's fine. If you can do that,
Exactly.
do that. If that's the way you learn, do that and take advantage of that.
But he also mentioned like find the thing that best fits you.
Yeah.
So I seriously admire everybody who can without payment who can be responsible. That's good. There's another question. These are the questions that you feel that when you were submitting your interest and for this event. So I hope that we are answering some of the people here from the audience. And if someone from you already tackled this question and wants to add something else to the question, just raise your hand, okay? Because these are all your questions and we are actually tackling them. So there's another question which is more about the future. It's like, what are the top 3 skills every IT professional should focus on developing in the next 1 to 2 years? But this can be, maybe you can all answer these for your department or your language.
Yeah, sure. Oh, of course, we're gonna mention it, AI at some point, so let's just get it out of the way. Of course, find some shape or form of AI which you feel helps you, which you can resonate with. Try using that. Of course, don't trust it blindly. This kind of goes without saying, but still. So that's definitely one thing that you will have to do at some point. For iOS, I would say check what's kind of the latest focus of Apple. I would say Apple Intelligence, even though it didn't turn out to be as impressive as we all hoped it would be, it's still a direction that they are pushing firmly into. So yeah, try learning a bit of that. App Intense ties in with Apple Intelligence, but also allows you to easily develop, I don't know, widgets, develop for the Apple Watch. So that will unlock a few doors for you. And what else? Yeah, asynchronous programming is also an active subject in the Apple ecosystem. So I would recommend that as well. Those are kind of the 3 things, let's say. I guess AI fits both all 3 technologies actually, but still, I would recommend this for iOS too. Like you will basically have to learn how to use it as a tool, same way you learned how to Google back then.
Philip, I think you can answer this now. I miss your voice somehow.
No, I mean, from the QA perspective, yeah, definitely AI. Although, as both guys mentioned already, there's a gazillion tools right now, and each one is the best one ever, and that is going to solve all of your problems ever. It's not take 3, try it out, stick with one, and use it as a tool that will help you. And one of the things that it's been a hot topic for the past couple of years, but with the AI being so accessible, it's growing even further. It's test automation and accessibility, especially if you are here in Europe and working for Europe or want to work for a European company. Accessibility is something that you should focus on, learn, and try to become an expert in it as much as you can. There are a number of courses already available due to EU laws. Businesses worldwide, if they want to be available on EU in EU countries, have to abide by some accessibility rules and forms, and that's basically the hot new thing. So if you want to focus on one thing, that's accessibility, and another thing that's test automation. Start slow and build your way up. Use tools, use something like Playwright or something like that, and just start.
All good points. I'll add one more, and it is how to beat AI. Because how to distance yourself from the AI engineers, prompt engineers, or AI itself, and that point is soft skills. So learn how to communicate with people, how to grow your career into the way where you know how to extract information from the client, how to provide information to the client, how to sell yourself and your product to the client, and how to beat AI in things where AI cannot dominate you. Because in coding, it will, with time, it will, but these things will differentiate between the AI and humans.
This is a very good answer to this question, because I think the relationship is something that you cannot have it with AI. Although I'm afraid that we're gonna have robots specifically tailored as AI agents are now. So I have another question, which is again about the future, and this is more about how do you envision your career in the future within AI, and how do you think that the roles for iOS developers, for like JavaScript, for Angular, will be in the next 2 to 3 years? Because it seems like close, but it's kind of far, because I think technology will develop even more. And also in QA, because especially for QA, because one thing which was very scary, that when AI was everybody was saying, oh my God, QA will not exist anymore. So, because there are many AI tools. So how do you also see in the future? Are you scared? Do you think that there will be some hybrid position for it and so on? How do you see it?
Yeah.
I can.
Go ahead.
I think clients will love AI. Why? Because we will be able, or should be able, to develop faster. Faster means cheaper, and we'll have to adapt to AI, to usage of AI, to be able to develop faster and cheaper for our clients. And with time, the code quality will for sure have to drop. And who knows, maybe in 10 years, code quality will be so low that hand-coded code, handcrafted code, will be paid more. So it's circle of life. And I'm not sure at the moment, but I think that we'll have to develop some relationship with AI, learn how to use it, and it will for sure shape our careers, even if we don't want to. The biggest problem will be with junior developers, where they will have to learn how to use AI and how to not be lost in the AI, because AI will for sure be better than junior developers. But again, we need to learn how to learn from AI to be able to beat it. Or I wouldn't even say to beat it. We don't want to beat it. We want to be faster, we want to be better, but we need to live with it.
I would also say this will be the hardest part. So maybe for more experienced developers, okay, for sure for more experienced developers, it's not going to be that big of an issue, because if the AI is giving me low quality results, I can tell just from a glance. But someone who is just starting out can be misled, can learn stuff which is actually wrong, completely wrong. Especially for stuff which is obscure, there's no documentation provided. So even ChatGPT doesn't know what it's talking about, and it's just gonna make stuff up. So kind of differentiating between the two and using it as a helper but not as a crutch, that's gonna be the hardest part. Again, senior developers will for sure be affected, but I don't think that much. Junior developers are gonna have to struggle a bit more with it, like Melissa mentioned. From a iOS point of view, I don't think it's gonna affect it any different than any other technology. Thankfully, documentation by Apple is so bad on some parts that even ChatGPT cannot help you there. So yeah, it's again up to you and your ingenuity and what you said, communicating with people, like soft skills, getting that knowledge from someone who has actually had that same problem as you at some point. That part, yeah, ChatGPT is not gonna have that.
Yep. For the QA, I like this part where you said there was a big scare at some point, but that's actually not something new for QA part of the IT industry. Like 20 years ago was the dawn of test automation, and all the hype was back then. QA is going to software testers will no longer be needed. Everything will be automated. Automation tests will replace us all. We won't have jobs. That did not happen. We basically expanded our roles, and yes, we integrated test automation. Started maybe focusing more on exploratory testing, on soft skills part of our job, and we integrated the test automation into our day-to-day processes. 10 years later, there was the adoption of DevOps practices. Again, it was like, okay, there's no need for QA anymore. Everything will be integrated. Tests will run themselves, and everything will be great. It didn't. We were also basically forced to, okay, this is the part where we can optimize. We freed up some time. What can we do with that free time? And we actually expanded our domain of knowledge. And I think that now and 10 years from now is no different. Yes, AI tools can help you, but they will not replace you per se. They will enable you also to free up your time that you previously spent on, I don't know, some mundane or repetitive tasks. And that will actually help you to focus more on other stuff. As you said, soft skills. You mentioned clients a number of times. We are all safe because clients often don't know themselves what they want, and we are there as experts to actually extrapolate that information from them and help them with them to decide, okay, this is what we want, this is what we are going to build. And at least for now, AI is unable to do that. And by the time it gets there, we'll anyhow be working on something slightly different. So I'm not worried.
Yeah, clients also wanted cross-platform app development, like when I started working, so 12 years ago, yet here we are still doing native development, but also doing the cross-platform development too. So there's no reason why things cannot live alongside, and we can satisfy that demand and we can satisfy the other one too. So usually the same clients that you mentioned who want to do it cheaper also want to do a hybrid app, not a native app, of course. And those will probably be the same clients who will not mind worse code quality because of usage of AI and so on, and cutting corners. That's fine. That's what you're gonna get. The final product is gonna reflect the price, and that's how it's always been. Like if you go back, I don't know, into building materials, that's how it always is. Like as much as you pay, the end result is gonna be what you get. So that's
And there's always
change
going
there.
to be a market for
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
because there's no need to have every app
Absolutely.
top notch.
Absolutely.
There's no need.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
Okay.
Like my point. Well, hello, I'm curious so English, so I will just add to Philip. By the way, I agree almost with everything you're saying about artificial intelligence, but in the area of this artificial intelligence, that's enough just to ask, because just not to be afraid. There are huge debates, yes, and you very nicely explained all the evolution, but just ask yourself, who is doing the artificial intelligence? Some developer behind, who is going to test that against some manual person, realistic person. So sorry, but there is for me the side in the end.
So it will be like a QA. QA.
Yes, but who does the QA? That's the end, who is older, the egg or the chicken? So that's the same question. Who does the time tester? And there are some assumptions, the ABM, the globally the bigger companies are speaking about standardization as well for artificial intelligence. If you have standards, then of course the standards should be on internet expected. Who do this is done as expected, developers are doing all of the testing. So it will be pretty much again centralized and just enjoy the evolution that is happening. This
So no
is a
worries.
big change for your technology. So just enjoy it, learn it, use it. Yes, and make the things easier. Not be afraid, but help yourself.
Keep in line with the new trends.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks, Sarah, for adding enthusiasm to the topic because we were all like, oh.
I just want to say one thing, yes, one thing,
Exactly.
great. It was like great what is happening for the technology part. And it will be, who knows what will come after 20 years. I'm already excited.
Perfect. Thanks, Sarah.
Sorry.
Zana is part of our board. So thank you, Anna, for continuing. We have 10 more minutes to tackle the questions from the audience. So bear with us, and then we're going to have a really good networking session, and we're going to announce the award. And also the question was we left for the end. Now is we have several questions, but this is actually I can tackle maybe Philip. What would you recommend for inexperienced individuals seeking internships where there are no positions available because of the slow economy? What are your recommendations based because you're oftentimes speaker for networking opportunities and so on? Can you just combine the two of this for this experience?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Today is a tricky time. We were just discussing basically before the talks started. Like if you compare 2021, 2022 with 2024 and 2025, it's like two opposite sides of the scale. Where 4 years ago, if you knew what a keyboard was, basically you had an entrance into IT sector if you wanted. Today, not so much. But I think the over-occurring topic here is just start. Like start with one course, start attending different meetups, talks. Start there. You will actually meet different people. You will get the chance to learn bits and pieces from them. You will maybe also get the chance to learn about some new academic positions that are open and similar events, and basically use that to slowly start building the network of people that you know, that you interact with. And that's basically one of the best ways to increase your chance in A, seeing some position open somewhere, and B, being actually ready to not only apply, but to have a serious chance into getting that position.
Yeah, but also if there isn't a position available, let's say they want to be a QA engineer, there's no position available in QA in Skopje anywhere at the moment. Start something else. Start something else. Find your way into the IT world, let's say, if you're not into it. And then at some point, when the opportunity arises, you might actually get the chance to switch to QA. So, like I said in my presentation, don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Like I didn't start with this. I started research for Windows 8 and for Windows Mobile, something completely unrelated to what I did today. And yeah, I didn't look for work opportunities. I looked for learning opportunities. That was the first thing that I found that was credible, and the mentor was credible. So I just started there. Then afterwards, yeah, opportunities open up. You meet people, doors open up. That's just what happens. So let it happen to you too.
I just want to add to this part because most of the trouble is with the internships and in the beginning for juniors. We always recommend them to just check freelancing opportunities and of course like I don't want to say this, but fake it till you make it. Like go to a project which seems advanced, but you're gonna learn on the way. So this is what we recommend to all interns because there is a challenge nowadays to find a proper apprenticeship and internship. So if you're waiting, don't wait. Just find the opportunities that might seem even that you're not fit, but still learn on the way. You cannot. So,
I would like to ask you, what are your thoughts on social projects?
Well, it's certainly valuable. Like when, for example, when we do an interview with someone for a nice position, we of course check what they have, if they have a GitHub repository, what have they done, where they have contributed. But it's not the deciding factor, at least for the iOS part. I can only speak for that. So we also focus on you, how you communicate, what the chemistry is like, can we understand each other, and yeah, what you know, of course. So definitely it helps to have some portfolio that you can show, and open source is a great way to do that if you don't have actual projects to work on. But yeah, that shouldn't be the be all and end all of it. Like you still need to present yourself in a way that's desirable for that company that you want to work with. So yeah, if you have free time and want to work on open source, definitely invest in that. So it's valuable, but just don't hope that that's gonna be everything that you need to get a job, because it's not.
That's
so build up your portfolio without having real projects or so on. But later on, like focus on finding I think the right thing when they will see that you are really trying and you're doing a lot comparing to the others, they will notice you. Yes. So, did you want to?
Yeah, I am. First of all, I think that we need light here because it's very dark in the room. Second, thank you, Monica, for moderating this panel and making it more interesting than it was. And the third one, I really want to, yeah, better. The third one, I really want to ask something that is not general like the other questions. I want to see your personal point of view, considering that all of you are team leads in the same company. And nowadays we have all these fancy team leads managers through LinkedIn, etc., etc. And is in my point of view, what make me think about you as a good leader and want to see your point of view, actually what makes you a good team leader, considering that you're leading people. And Damian in his presentation talked a little bit about leadership and how leadership can impact your life, career, etc., etc. And also it can impact you in a good way, in a bad way. And we know that people are leaving jobs because of toxic leaders, mentors, bosses, etc., etc. And on the other side, we have people who are elevating their lives because they have the great mentor, etc., etc. And my question to you is, what makes you a good team leader in your team? And I want your personal example. What makes you, not like general, like good communication, etc., being there, because I'm a little bit overwhelmed with this situation. I really want to see how you are impacting your people on a daily life in a manner when they have problems. Are you keeping their backs, or are you putting them in the fire? Are you taking the credits and getting back when things get hard, etc., etc.? Because what misses in a company culture is really transparency when a leader is in question, because everyone wants to be a leader. And actually, leadership is about responsibility. It's not about benefits, etc., etc. And this is the main point when the people are making mistakes, when they're taking up some position and they're actually making some people hell of lives in their workplace. So I really want to see you don't need to mention names, etc., etc. My interest is in what makes you, for example, Philip, Tomislav, and Damian, what makes you a good leader in your team day to day?
Also, adding to this one more question, because it's connected to the audience's questions. how do you deal with coworkers who lack productivity? So how do you motivate them? And how do you?
Yeah, well, what you said about do we put people straight in the frying pan, or do we offer support and guidance? That's kind of the biggest part of it. Finding different approaches for different people, because different people need different things in the end. Practical examples. I don't know. Something that happens most often, at least in my experience, is people not knowing who to ask for certain information. You having the wider picture as a leader should be able to help them. Whether that's something mundane about time tracking or something boring like that, or I don't know, where do I sign up to do a talk at Infinite Talks? Like, who do I contact about that? What can you help me with in that regard? So those are kind of most common things, which are kind of easiest to solve. This other part that you mentioned about throwing people in the fire, that also happens quite a lot. Some people do need to be thrown in the fire in order to help them progress. Other people have been kind of chugging along at in some comfort zone, and we have to throw them in the fire a bit to see if they will wake up and do the work they should do, or whether they will kind of get lost in that job, which in the end is to help them get out of that state that they're in, that comfort zone. Other thing which is very important is salaries, career growth, career paths. Where do I go from here? How can I get there? Those are also quite common questions. You mentioned the cycles that we have. These are some of the cycles and the things that we discuss in these cycles. So helping people reach the next level, or whatever they want to do, shift to a different technology, I don't know, whatever they feel that the next step for them is, help them get there. Not do it for them, of course, but help them get there. Tell them what they will need to do to get to that point. And another very, very important part, maybe even the hardest, getting a relationship of trust between the two of you. So all of this I said previously cannot exist without a relationship of trust between the two people. Because if you don't have trust, they're not going to tell you their problems. They're not going to like the solution that you give them. So there has to be a relationship between the two of you of respect and trust. You don't have to like each other as friends. You don't have to go out, of course, but you need to respect each other and each other's opinions. And you just need to click. You just need to click and trust each other. And if you see that it doesn't work out, of course, seek a solution to that. But just don't stay quiet and just sit and brew in your hatred of your manager, or as a manager, hatred of someone in your team. And that's not going anywhere. That's the toxic part that you mentioned, that sometimes does happen, unfortunately. But if you find yourself in that position, it's up to you. If you feel that toxicity, it's up to you to speak up, skip level, go to the manager above your manager, go sideways to someone. Just don't sit in that position. Like, nobody's gonna fix it for you, obviously, if you've already found yourself there. So I hope that answered at least a part of your question.
I would also add up to that. Yes, the communication is the key part, to have a two-line communication between the manager and its team member. And when you have that, you are able to explore ideas what that person wants. When you know what that person wants to do in life, in the company, you need to know what can you do to make them achieve that goal. For example, if they want to become more experienced in one technology, what can you, as a good team manager, do to put steps for him so that he can climb those steps? Because what roadblocks can you remove for him? For example, if you have a team member that is on a project where he's unsatisfied, we in the agency, we have a possibility to switch things around. You need to check with your team members, see who would be the best fit for some project. Maybe if somebody is unsatisfied on one project, switch things around. But check why is that a thing. Then check if other project will be better or worse for him. Uh, the biggest point here is to have a two-way communication, to learn about your team members, to be able to consume and process all the information so that you are able to react on time. Um, I have a team member which struggles with near burnout, and with that in mind, I know that I have to set up some checkpoints with him. For example, on a weekly basis to see if burnout levels, stress levels are okay. I need to be able to think about tasks to give him so that he can progress, but also at the same time not to give him too much stress, because I don't want him to burn out, but I also don't want him to stagnate at one point. So it's a lot of thinking, a lot of can I do this? Should I do that? Think about consequences of each move, and we make mistakes. It happens. But important thing is to learn from these mistakes and to act and apologize. It happens, and it will happen both ways. And just communicate and have an open relationship.
Yeah, even though it really does sound cheesy, I think that one of the most important parts of Infinium's culture is honesty and communication. What guys mentioned, trust is one of the most important things you can have with the person that you're mentoring, leading in whatever role or relationship, whether you're some tech lead or his direct superior. I know from my personal experience, I mentioned in the presentation, I think that I personally mentored 7 people so far who came with zero experience into the company. And I'm always very, one could say, brutally direct right at the beginning in saying, look, I'm going to be straight with you, honest as possible, and I expect the same from you as well. Your current learning is you are at this point. We both want you to get to this point. Let's figure out how we can do it, and let's be honest with each other. Okay, this is what I think you should do. Let's start doing it and have checks along the way and see, okay, this is working or this is not working. Some people with experience, I think we learn to read different people, and we can see, okay, this is a person you really have to throw into the fire because the person is going to excel in it, or okay, this is a person you really need to shield a bit in order for the person not to burn out. I think the second part of the question was what to do with people whose productivity is not maybe on the level that we are expecting. And here the trust part is again the key part, because the first thing we do is try to understand why this is happening. People can be not productive because of million different things, and some things are reasonable. Personal life problems, bad year or something like that. And if you don't have a relationship with that person of mutual trust, you might not know about it, and you act wrongly. But in our case, we all, okay, we need to have a certain quality of our work, but we also try to take care of each other. So if there is something that is troubling you from personal standpoint or something. Okay, how can we help? How long do you think this will last? Can we take down the load in the next couple of months, help you until you get back on your feet, then like move you back on some level? That's one case. And the other case is, well, where a person is lacking in productivity because of numerous different reasons. And until you figure it out why, it's hard to know which direction to take. And again, circling back, it's the trust part. That's
We also had a few concrete examples, at least in our team, of what you mentioned, people with personal issues, or rather, in this case, they were mental health issues. We all know how big of a taboo subject that is in our parts of the world, even today. And what we did in these few examples that we had, we drove those people towards HR, but we drove them to the right people in HR who were able to help them. And we even helped them with resources, sometimes financial resources to help them get the help that they need. Or sometimes, I don't know, recommendations for mental health professionals who will help them with that, because people don't know where to go. And of course, they are shy to ask because, like I said, it's a taboo subject. So this is another concrete example of something that starts cropping up. And it's actually good that people are speaking up about their mental health issues, but it's, let's say, a new challenge that we are seeing more recently. And yeah, I'm actually pretty proud that we as a company can talk about this openly and have offered several people resources to help them resolve their problems, and they have taken up the opportunity, which is great because then it means that it's working, and they are still having regular sessions, doing whatever they need, whatever was decided for them by their health professional. So that's very, very good to see. And that also ties in with how do you know you've been a good leader, because you see a person who was struggling now getting to grips with things, growing, solving their own problems, starting to seek help for themselves. That's when you know you've done something good, and that's reflected in that person's, in this case, mental health, or it could be performances or productivity as well.
Okay. So if we can wrap up, it's like trust, communication, one-on-one, so you can discover what's the issue and then like.
Yeah, and from a team member's point of view, like using your team lead and asking them about stuff. If you don't do that, nothing's gonna happen. And if they're not responding as you think they would, like I said, go another direction, go to their superior, go somewhere. Just don't sit. If you're not feeling okay, just don't sit with it, because yeah, who's gonna help with that?
Being a team leader is a huge responsibility. I hope you guys have a coach with which helps you throughout this journey, because it seems like you have lots of challenges that you have to face. I just want to bring you back to the turning point, because we have 3 questions regarding this. So I guess it's a very interesting question that the audience wants you to answer. How did you figure out that you want to go to the leadership management instead of the technical route? And what was the light bulb moment for you? I guess everybody wants to know what was the turning point.
Well, this was a big part of my presentation again, but I'll kind of repeat it. It was figuring out that when projects are not working, they're mostly not working because of bad leadership or lack of leadership in any shape or form. And kind of figuring out that it's not that hard to achieve that. Like I said, just establishing communication between the people who need to hear the same thing at both ends, just kind of connecting the dots. That seemed to work. I liked that I kind of fixed that, so that led me to drive myself into that direction, even though at the time I didn't work as a team lead, and the position wasn't even in that shape or form present at that time for me. So in the future, when it actually became a topic, I was already kind of there, and it was already something that I wanted to do.
There's also another question specifically for you, and while you are here, connecting the dot, what skills were useful for you in the transition to leadership? How did you prepare to secure a team lead position?
Well, soft skills were mentioned. I'm gonna mention them again, and it's really, yeah, it sounds cheesy, but it's really an active topic. It's even one of our team initiatives, or rather company-wide initiatives, that we're looking to improve soft skills because, yeah, a lot of us lack them, and it's really hard to gain that knowledge. Some people are better communicators than others, and that's fine. That's always gonna be the case. But if you have problems communicating, yeah, you need to resolve that. You need to start learning how to communicate. That's, I think, the main thing.
And this question will be for Hava because we haven't heard him. As a team lead, are there any tasks you genuinely dislike? What are some of the tasks and how do you deal with them? Sorry for this question, it's a little bit.
That's a hot question. There are some tasks. There are some tasks where you have to do what's best for the company, but also you have to do what's best for your team members. Because as a team lead, you act like a middleman between the management and the people. You as a team member have responsibility for your team members. As a team lead, the responsibility for your team members, but also your job is to make company a better place, to evaluate risks and evaluate what can you do, which risks you have to take for the company to grow, but also not make it unhealthy. For example, one of the biggest question for me is, should we have a bench? Bench means to have a few people sitting and doing something internal work without a project, and having them ready for another project. This costs company money, and if some project cancels, then you have a big bench that is not bringing revenue to the company, and this is making management nervous. On the other side, you have maybe a new project that will come up, and there will be a need for 10 people at that time. And you will have nobody on the bench. And then it's on you as a team lead to take chances, to risk and to guess if you need to hire more people or should you be more careful. And this part of job can be really stressful, and it can be one day you have a projection to have 8 people on the bench, the next week you will have 4 people less and you need to hire. And that's usual in the agency, and this is one hard part of the job where you need to take everything into account, think of 100 scenarios that could go by, and I can't say that I dislike it, but it's the harder part of the job.
Thanks, Hava. This question is for Philip. What was your biggest challenge as a QA?
My personal biggest challenge was actually defining the QA lead role. I was one of the first ones in that role. Basically, up until quite recently, there was either a team lead role or individual contributor. So you would be either a manager or some sort of management role, or you will be just working on a project. So one of the biggest challenges, and which is actually an ongoing challenge, because at Infinum, I think that QA team and design team have the most junior lead roles because they were actually introduced quite recently, and that's one of the biggest challenges which is ongoing, and that's actually defining the role, defining the overlapping with the team leads responsibilities, where we have to strike a balance where we complement each other but not step on each other's work, because quite often a person has its own team lead, but I'm also mentoring her, but I'm also mentoring that person if we're working on the same project, or I'm supporting that project or something like that. So the biggest challenge is actually defining the role itself, especially for defining, okay, what's next. Like that's the technical track. At the moment, QA lead is it. There is no higher technical role, and yeah, one of the next challenges will be to define, okay, where to next.
Perfect. You also answered another question, which was directly for QA lead and team lead, but you explained it well. So thank you, Philip. You really have nice way of answering. What project experience contributed the most to shape you as a professional as you are today? This goes to Sven.
Project experience.
Which can you give example? This is a question for you.
You've been working on the same project forever, so
I think
That one.
That's a tough question.
while you're thinking about it, I can say that for myself, it was that part where that period where I was working in a hybrid role, where I was half-time QA engineer, half-time Scrum Master, and half-time product owner. If you notice, that's a lot of hours a day. But that period was like 5 to 6 months, and yeah, it was challenging. It was hard, but it was actually the part where I touched upon so many different areas of the job that actually it helped me. It was like make it or break it moment. So it was either I'm going to be the best guy ever, or I'm going to sell everything and become a shepherd in a mountain somewhere. So that was the make it or break it.
There's a
Copy paste. I had a similar experience on the same project. Our PO at that time left the company, and I had to step in as a part-time PO. And this was before I was a team lead. And then I discovered I'm good at organizational stuff, like organizing a team, organizing things with clients, tracking progress of team members and the project itself. And at that point, I knew that something like this is needed for my career to grow.
For me, maybe the most formative years were when I started working as a contractor for Infinum, because that's how this kind of relationship started, which ended with the opening of this office, and it's still going actually, didn't end. But yeah, it was a hard part for me because I had reached something which I thought was a kind of senior level at what I did in iOS, and then I had the interview with Infinum. Yeah, they asked me, have you ever done unit testing? I said never. They asked me, have you done reactive programming? I said never. And they asked me a couple of more things about certain frameworks or libraries. I said, sorry, haven't used them thus far, but yeah, I would be willing to learn. And then they said, okay, you're hired. So yeah, it was a different time, like we talked about previously.
You had a keyboard.
Yeah, I did have a keyboard. It wasn't mine. I borrowed it from the company, but yeah, it was some sort of keyboard. So that part, when I actually started working on Infinum projects, that was kind of the most formative part, because I did have to learn all of these technologies that I told them, yeah, I would be happy to learn them, but I had no idea about them. So definitely that part of my professional life was the most challenging, but also the most rewarding, because in a very short period of time, I got to learn all of these things. So that I was kind of thankful for that opportunity in the end. So yeah, getting thrown in the fire worked out great for me then.
So we have just 3 minutes more left, and there are so many questions, but let's tackle this one. I think it's a little bit interesting. After you become team leader, did you notice colleagues distancing themselves or treating you differently? If so, how did you navigate, address that shift in the dynamics?
I can answer this because I did feel that. My colleagues can confirm or deny this, but I did feel that. Whether it was true or not, whether it's based in fact or not, I don't know, but I did feel that, and I still feel it to this day. I think it's part of the job. Let's say it comes with the job. It's unavoidable to some degree, but again, I'm gonna come back to the relationships. Like if you had a relationship of trust with these people before, as a colleague, not as a team leader, then that's more likely to continue even when you become their team lead or team lead in the same company. So yeah, I did feel that, and I still feel it, and it's maybe one of the things that makes me sad about this job position, but yeah, the benefits outweigh that part.
Thank you, Dara, for the honesty. And one question for Hava. Knowing JavaScript is the foundation for FE development. Should I master JavaScript first, then proceed with frameworks libraries, even though frameworks are important?
Good question. FE front-end development. Yes and no. I started by learning Angular. Yes, I did a course on JS, but that's like learning variables, loops, and so on. And I started with Angular. And at one point, after a few months of development, even half a year or a year later, I knew Angular, but I didn't know what's the difference between JS and Angular. And especially coming from a design background, so not tech background, I didn't know what is object something from JS, is object something from like a concept, or is it Angular thing? And because of this, yes, I would suggest better to go inside of route, go to JavaScript, learn basics, definitely, but in reality, you will not build to-do app with vanilla JS if you don't understand anything right now. You'll take a framework, you'll take either Angular or React, Vue, whatever, and you will start building. And yeah, after a few months, you will need to decide what is JS, what is Angular, or React, or any other framework. So I would suggest if you want to start with JS and then want to quickly move on to frameworks.
So the last question, I'll try, if you want, you can explain more what should be briefed to everybody. With technology constantly evolving, is it better to specialize deeply in one area or to have a broad understanding across multiple fields?
Good one.
Yeah, so
Good one.
thank to the person who answered. So,
I would argue that specializing in one is the best answer, but I would not exclude one from the other. I think that nowadays you must know everything. For example, not in detail, you need to know of everything. So, for example, front-end developer needs to know some parts of backend, how, at least a broad view, how things work. They need to know design, of course. We are front-end developers. But I wouldn't say that you need to learn how to draw in Figma. You need to learn the basic concepts. So I would rather specialize in one thing and master it, but also I would know the others. Not master everything, because you cannot master everything, but specialize in one and know the others.
perfect. So yes and yes.
Yes and yes, learn everything.
I would also like you said, what's the saying? Jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot be a master of multiple things at once, and you shouldn't be. We've had those sorts of people, and yeah, it didn't work out, unfortunately. Get specialist in something, but like I said previously, that something doesn't have to be the first thing that you start doing. So start doing something, then find something you wish to specialize in. But the broader picture, of course, I mean, for all technologies, QA too, like QA people also need to know how the backend works, how frontend works, why designers design this the way that it is, does it make sense? All of this for developers is the same. So you always need to have this bigger picture in mind, but definitely specialize for something. You cannot be an Android and an iOS expert. That doesn't exist. Like, I feel very strongly about that. Or take any two technologies. It doesn't have to be Android and iOS. So you have to be a specialist at something if you want to be successful, let's say.
I would agree with that. I think that basically you have to excel at one thing, and but you cannot over specialize. Like you will reach some point where gains of going further will be significantly smaller if you go up instead of going left or right. So it will definitely help you
That's from
get established, be able to know off everything else, and when there is a need. Like for instance, we have a couple of people in our company who, when there was no projects for them to work in that specific technology, they were able to relatively easy jump into something else for a couple of months, then go back when there was some new work. So focus on one thing, specialize on something, and then at some point just spread out.
Perfect, thank you. With this, I just want to wrap up this panel discussion and just to say that we definitely tackled the future trends. We tackled the current challenges for team leaders. My God, it's hard work for you guys. And with this, I would like to invite Alexandra just to give you like a special acknowledgement. So, thank you.
Do we need to stand up?
Yes.
It's just
So, thank you for your contribution.
thank you.
Have a
Thank you.
Damian.
Thank you very much.
Keep on with the loyalty and with the great success as team leaders, guys. And without, before heading to the next phase, which is more like for chill and networking, we have one question for you. It's kind of obvious if you notice some things. If you're a QA, probably you will see it faster. Can you guess, and this is like first come, first serve, so be prepared to answer fast. Can you guess how many years Infinom exists?
That's 2020.
Who's first?
Three? Was that it? Yeah. Super. Okay, perfect. Can you come? Yes. We're gonna go.
Is it going to be like you're fired?
Start the pilot.
Do you have a keyboard?
No, I'm not. No, I'm a software engineer.
How do you feel about working on a project?
This is for you. Thank you so much for the fast reaction and for noticing. Okay, thank you so much.